a vaccine or a booster, then you can decide not to go to hospital however ill you get. And that is your right.
So you would leave the unjabbed at home to die if they had a heart attack, if they suffered from a stroke?
That's their choice. If they're unjabbed, if they take the decision they're not going to use the medical evidence, follow the science, as we say, recognize, because what the boosters do is not only protect you, they protect other people, because you transmit the infection far less.
Yeah. Although you can still transmit even if you are triple jab.
Now, breaking right now, a major moment in the UK House of Commons this afternoon, where the so-called terminally ill adults end of life bill was introduced. Now, what this is a euthanasia bill, an assisted dying bill. It is highly controversial. Keir Starmer will allow British MPs to make a conscience vote. They will not be whipped by the party in any way. And overnight, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, staged an intervention against the bill. But what's interesting, if I show you the mainstream media here, the drumbeat for assisted dying in the UK is absolutely incessant. Here's the Daily Express deciding to put Esther Rantzen at the forefront of the campaign. I'll tell you why that is a very odd decision in just a moment. Equally, the Times seeming to suggest this is a good thing. Only the Daily Mail contains that intervention on their front page from Justin Welby. And here's my issue with this. Keir Starmer says he wants to do it for Esther Rantzen. Now, Esther Rantzen, she's someone who I had on my old show, GB News, a lot. I didn't agree with her on anything, but I have no issue with her, and I think she is a good broadcaster, and in lots of ways she's been a very, very good woman over a number of years. And she absolutely has a right to her own opinion about this, given she is currently terminally ill with cancer. The problem that I have is that over the COVID vaccine debate, Esther Rantzen proved that she does not believe in the sanctity of human life, and that she does not believe in the sanctity of choice and bodily autonomy. It all came out on a debate during my former GB News show. I just want to play you one of the critical sections to give you some context.
A vaccine or a booster, then you can decide not to go to hospital however ill you get. And that is your right.
So you would leave the unjabbed at home to die if they had a heart attack, if they suffered from a stroke?
That's their choice. If they're unjabbed, if they take the decision they're not going to use the medical evidence, follow the science, as we say, recognize, because what the boosters do is not only protect you, they protect other people, because you transmit the infection far less.
Yeah. Although you can still transmit even if you are triple jab.
So Calvin, the woman, Father Calvin Robinson, the woman who Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, has put at the heart of his clear intention to try and make euthanasia or assisted dying legal in the UK, is a woman who wanted the unvaccinated during COVID to be killed off.
No, it's awful, isn't it? Esther Ranson's opinions are diabolical, but as with all free speech arguments, I support her right to hold these opinions, as you do.
So do I.
To proclaim them publicly. What I do not like is our parliamentarians, our Prime Minister saying, we're going to have this debate because I promised Esther Rantzen. That's not how a representative democracy works. That's not how a constitutional democracy works. It's very, very bizarre for celebrities to have this much influence over our Prime Minister. And we've seen the same with Taylor Swift, as well as we're seeing with Esther Rantzen. This is a weird bubble of lefty celebrities having too much power and influence over our society. But this whole debate is scary because it is about, you're right, it is about the sanctity of life. Every single human life is sacred. And that's not dependent on how healthy we are or how much money it costs to keep us alive. It's a God-given right to life. We all deserve that right to life. And the Christians like myself would say that God decides when we are born and when we die. And the moment we try to alter that, whether it's killing babies before they're born or killing old people before they get the chance to die naturally, that is us playing God. And it's a dangerous game because it's a slippery slope. And those of us on the right who've been saying it's a slippery slope for years have been shut down by the left saying, oh, there's no such thing as a slippery slope. but we have seen it in practice. You only have to look at Canada with their MAID service, which set out to offer assisted dying, assisted suicide, assisted killing, whatever you want to call it, to people in the extremities. So people who are suffering with extreme pain. And it quickly, very rapidly progressed into just a part of their healthcare service. And so we've seen firsthand veterans who are too poor to afford to live being offered death. We've seen people who can't afford a stair lift being offered death instead. It's absolutely disgusting because it's cheaper to kill someone off than it is to properly support them. That's scary. So I think for that reason alone, everybody should be against it. We should help people
We've
suffer
also
well.
even seen people with depression
Oh yeah,
being offered to die, and that is
it.
heartbreaking.
Dan, it's not even, you're right, it's people with depression, but it's not even people at the end of their life. It's not even people who are elderly.
No, these are people who are completely physically healthy. And I'm not exaggerating, by the way. There have been legal deaths in parts of Europe of completely healthy people because they say that they are clinically depressed. But first, everyday subtle changes occur in our bodies, often going unnoticed. It's called inflammaging, a chronic low-grade inflammation that deteriorates our health as we get older. It's more than just a sign of aging, it's a key contributor to health issues like cardiovascular diseases, dementia and depression, and physical decline. It continuously weakens the body's resistance, turning minor infections severe and impacting mental health and cognitive function. Inflammaging significantly diminishes both quality of life and independence. Proper diet, exercise, and sleep can only get you so far. So that's why I take Clean Bean by Verso. It contains ingredients targeted to fight off and help prevent inflammaging. Research shows that these ingredients clean out damaged cells in the body that affect healthy cells, reduce inflammation, protect against oxidative stress, and improve conditions like cardiovascular diseases and neurological disorders. After taking Clean Bean for some time, I've noticed less joint pain, increased energy, better mood, clearer skin, I can think better, I don't get sick as often. These are all benefits of reducing inflammation. Plus, Verso ensures transparency and quality by publishing third-party testing results for each batch they produce, so you know you're getting exactly what you pay for. Click on the link in the description in YouTube or Rumble, or head on over to buy.ver.so and use the coupon code Outspoken at checkout to save 15% on your first order. To repeat, that's www.buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code Outspoken. But now back to the show.
And teenagers, depressed teenagers are being offered death. What teenager hasn't felt depression at some stage or another? It's absolutely terrifying that we're offering a way out, which is just to end it all, rather than to help and support in love, compassion, kindness, empathy, and just helping people through their struggles, rather than just saying, no, life's too difficult, end it. It horrifies me more than anything else. And it's terrible that we're having a debate about bringing it over here when we've seen how bad it is in Europe and in Canada. We should have the courage to say, no, we are better than this.
What about the disabled as well, Calvin? Because I've been very interested today with the intervention from the Paralympic multi-gold medalist Baroness Tarini Gray-Thompson. She has spoken out against the legalization of assisted dying because she believes it could actually be used to encourage disabled people who would qualify under some of the measures, for example, to be encouraged to end their lives.
Yes, it is a modern euthanasia service which leans into eugenics. And actually, we've seen this around the world. Look at Iceland. There are practically 0 people with Down syndrome in Iceland because they screen them out and they kill them. And we'd see this is at the start of life. So who's to say we wouldn't see this at the end of life too, with the assisted dying program? If someone has an incurable illness, if someone is disabled and to a degree that they will never improve physically, they may be offered the option of just ending their life. And it's terrible because, again, the value of their life doesn't depend on how well they can walk or how much they can contribute to society. Just being alive is enough. We are all loved. We all have dignity and worth in the eyes of God. And I suppose losing God in a societal level has lost our value of human life too.
No, indeed. I mean, they say, Calvin, that there are safeguards in place. So there would be a sign-off from a judge, but also 2 doctors. And that's what would be required for a patient who desired to die for it to be granted. They also say that the option would be limited to only the terminally ill with 6 to 12 months to live. The issue is, though, Calvin, we even saw over the COVID pandemic that there were, and I'm not casting aspersions on everyone on the NHS, of course I'm not. I know there are lots of great people within the NHS. But Calvin, we also know that there were some medics who very quickly went down the path of do not resuscitate, even when that was not the wish of the patient and the families weren't there, were they? So we just have to be careful.
Yeah, the vulnerable during COVID were isolated for obvious reasons. And we found that many of them, especially people with disabilities and learning disabilities in particular, were put on these DNRs against their own will, and they didn't have consent. So they were told that they were going to die. And if they were going to die, they would not be resuscitated. That is evil. There's no other way around that. And so these safeguards are not enough. We have to have protections in place. There was a clip that went viral last week where Dr. Weber was interviewed by, I think it was Liz Carr, who has serious health conditions herself. She interviewed this doctor who performs these acts in Canada, and this doctor was saying, "This is the best work of my life." She said, "I've brought people into the world, where I've delivered babies, but actually I've helped kill over 400 people, and I love it." There's something wicked and demonic about it.
Very odd. Are you happy with the intervention, by the way, from the Archbishop of Canterbury, who I know usually you're at odds with?
Yeah, thank you for raising that. I think credit where it's due. The Archbishop of Canterbury is doing his job and speaking out for the sanctity of life. That is his whole purpose. So well done to the Archbishop of Canterbury for speaking out on Christian teachings. Thank you. More of that, please.
Yep, no, indeed. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.